You bring back a lot of experience, but you also have a group that struggled last year with some injuries, COVID stuff. Like, how do you feel about where your guys are right now in fall, ending fall camp, heading into the start of the season?
I feel like they're working hard, and yeah, I think the guys have done a really good job up to this point for sure.
And what kind of improvements have you seen out of Nick, out of some of the guys that you have coming back?
Well, I think all the guys physically have had a really good off season, and then I think those guys have all studied really, really well, and so execution I think is at a higher level than it was previously. So I think those things right there, just the physical part and the mental part. Mm-hmm.
And depth-wise, that was also something like last year just was tough. How do you feel about where you are, depth chart, and guys being healthy and all that good stuff?
Right now, everybody's healthy. Depth chart is not all the way ironed out yet. We want to keep this as competitive as we possibly can, and there's, some guys at some positions still competing, and so that's a work in progress right now.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk about just kind of changing up things a little bit after last season, especially with the pass defense. And guys have been a little, mysterious with what kind of changes we're going to see this year. What kind of showed y'all from last season that y'all did need to make?
I didn't hear the end of that question. You broke up.
What from last year did y'all kind of take away that kind of pushed y'all to make some changes on defense coming up for this year?
Well, I mean, that question, I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, it's pretty simple that when, things don't work the way you want them to work, you got to look very carefully and see why they're not working, and see whether, why that is. And once you figure out why that is, then you got to address the why. And so really what we've done is assessed ourselves, look at what happened, why it happened, and then addressed the why. That's what we've done. Some of it, every year is, each year is different, but the same. Some things work some years, some things don't work some years, and sometimes it's just about executing what you have. And so that's what we've tried to do.
What are the kind of things you look for in a transfer? And as you guys have had Anthony Johnson and Josh Hayes, when you bring in something like that, what are kind of the qualities you're looking for in a transfer?
Somebody that can start, and somebody that's an ACC player, and someone that can stop ACC players.
And what have you seen from those transfers, like Anthony Johnson and Josh Hayes?
They're doing a good job right now. These guys are trying hard. They're learning. They're doing a nice job.
Does it say something extra, Anthony? I think, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but that he already was in that first jersey selection group, wasn't he? For a transfer to come in and immediately make that kind of impact where his peers think that, he should be in that first group of players selecting jerseys.
Yeah, I think if we bring a transfer player in here and they don't have a jersey, that's a problem, because then what's a transfer going to do if he's not here? So I would look at it that way.
What has having Famui back added to the defensive line and the defense as a whole so far this year?
Aaron can get pressure, and he's experienced, and he plays really, really hard, and he has experience. So those things right there,
Has he kind of picked up where he left off despite not being here last year? Because it seemed like he was on the verge of a pretty big breakthrough, maybe even in the process of one toward the end of that 2019 season.
I mean, I'm just thinking back. I think Aaron played really, really well. If I'm not mistaken, I think he, just in terms of pressure from an interior defensive lineman, I think he was top in the country. So, breakthrough or whatever, I don't know. But he, I think like anybody, when he came back in the spring, you can't just stop doing something and then pick it up and just do it again. Like, it takes time. And so the time and effort that he has put in, I think is, going to lead him to where he wants to be and where we need him to be. And I'm pleased with what he's done. I think he's done a nice job. And yeah, we like Aaron. It's good to have him here.
We've heard Elliott, he's kind of, playing a little bit more versatile this year, playing inside and outside. What have you just liked about his development? It's a guy who started off his career playing a lot and then, kind of lost some of that playing time in the middle and has come back.
I think Elliott, probably, certain times in your career where you realize, like, okay, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? And up to this point, I think he's showing that he really wants to do it. And he's had some good players ahead of him. And it hasn't been lack of effort or anything like that. It's just, you never know when your opportunity is going to come. None of us do in anything that we do. It's really, do you have the mindset to be prepared when your opportunity comes? And I've seen that from him so far, and I would be really pleased, and I hope that he has a really good season just for all the work that he's put in. He's a good kid.
How much of a benefit is it for your guys to get to see and have to react to Brennan and Keaton and some of these, guys that you, especially considering who you're going to face this year in the ACC, and when they get to see them in practice and get better each day playing against them?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't think there's a quarterback in the ACC that doesn't scramble, and I don't think there's a quarterback in the ACC that can't run. So you need to see a running, scrambling, throwing quarterback. They're all high caliber, and so they all present a unique challenge. Brennan, I think, throws the ball really nice. We've seen looks from Ira, and that is kind of been really good for us in terms of contain, because he's really, really fast.
I know coming off of last season, Bronco and you guys had talked a lot about wanting to be more physical as a defense. How do you kind of balance wanting to be more physical with, I know Bronco was talking last week about maybe not doing as much contact in camp this year to keep guys healthier and fresh?
That's a head coach question. I don't balance that. When they say hit, we hit. When they say tag off, we tag off. So that's guided by the head coach, and you'd have to ask him that.
Coach, have you seen a weapon just kind of in your years, coaching? Have you seen a weapon like Keaton Thompson that can do as many things as he can at that kind of size?
Yeah, I've seen guys like that. They're good players on other teams, and they're hard to stop.